The elegant restaurant glowed with candlelight as Christopher Bennett sat alone at table 17, nursing his wine and checking his watch. At 37, he was CEO of Bennett Enterprises, wealthy beyond measure and increasingly cynical about blind dates arranged by well-meaning friends who insisted he needed to get back out there. After his divorce 3 years earlier, his date was 30 minutes late. No text, no call, just empty promises from yet another setup that would probably end in disappointment. He was debating whether to just leave when a young woman rushed into the restaurant, clearly flustered and out of breath. She wore a simple navy dress, had her blonde hair in a practical braid, and carried an inexpensive purse. She scanned the restaurant anxiously, then her eyes landed on the table number 17 and she hurried over. "I am so sorry I'm late," she said, sliding into the chair across from him. "The bus was delayed and then I got turned around," and she paused, really looking at him for the first time. "Wait, you're not David?" Christopher raised an eyebrow. "No, I'm Christopher. You're not Rebecca?" The woman's face flushed bright red. "Oh my God, I'm at the wrong table. I'm supposed to be meeting someone blind." "Date and," the text said, table 17, and I just assumed she started to stand. "I'm so sorry for interrupting." "Wait," Christopher said, surprising himself. Something about her genuine embarrassment and the irony of the situation made him smile. "I'm also on a blind date." Also, at table 17, also stood up, apparently. "Since we're both here and both dateless, why don't you stay?" The woman hesitated. You're clearly waiting for someone, and I should find my actual table. I've been waiting 30 minutes. "I think I've been stood up. You said your date was at table 17. That's what the text said. She showed him her phone. The message clearly read table 17, 7 p.m. Christopher checked his own phone. His setup had said the same thing. "I think our friends might have double-booked this table, or there's been some miscommunication. Either way, we're both here, both dressed for dinner, and both apparently experiencing the same disaster." "I'm Christopher, and you are Anna Martinez." She sat back down slowly, still looking uncertain. "This is really weird." "Agreed. But also kind of funny." Christopher gestured to the menu. "Since we're here, we might as well eat my treat, as an apology for the confusion." "You don't need it to apologize. This isn't your fault." Anna looked around the restaurant nervously. "Actually, I should tell you, I can't afford this place. When my friend set up this date, she didn't mention where we'd be eating. I looked up the menu online and nearly had a heart attack. I was planning to order the cheapest thing and pretend I wasn't hungry." Christopher appreciated her honesty more than she knew. "Order whatever you want. Seriously, we're making the best of a confusing situation. No pressure, no expectations, just two people sharing a meal." What started as an awkward mistake became the most genuine conversation Christopher had experienced in years. Anna was a social worker, working with foster children and families in crisis. She made barely enough to cover rent on her tiny apartment and took the bus everywhere because she couldn't afford a car. But she spoke about her work with passion and purpose that made Christopher's corporate achievements feel hollow by comparison. "Why social work?" Christopher asked. "The pay is terrible, the cases are heartbreaking, and the system is broken. Why put yourself through that?" "'Cause those kids deserve someone who fights for them," Anna said simply. "Someone who sees them as people, not case numbers. I grew up in foster care. Know what it feels like when no one advocates for you. If I can be that person for even one child, it's worth every difficulty." Christopher felt something shift in his chest. "I'm sorry you went through that. Don't be. It's made me who I am. And it taught me that success isn't measured in salary, it's measured in lives changed." Anna paused. "What do you do?" Christopher had been dreading this question. Women's demeanor always changed when they learned about his wealth. "I'm CEO of a tech company. We develop enterprise software solutions." "That sounds impressive and also completely over my head," Anna said with a self-deprecating smile. "I barely understand the software we use at work." "But you must be good at it." "I'm successful at it. Not sure that's the same as being good." Christopher found himself being more honest than intended. "I make a lot of money helping other companies make money." "Your work actually helps people. That feels more valuable. We talked for 3 hours, and I told Christopher about her current caseload, the frustration of inadequate resources, the small victories that kept her going. Christopher told her about the loneliness of success. The divorce that had revealed his ex-wife cared more about his money than him. The isolation of being surrounded by people who wanted things from him. "Can I ask you something?" Anna said as dessert arrived. "Are you going to tell me you're actually a billionaire or something? Because this feels too good to be true, and I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop." Christopher laughed. "Not a billionaire. But I am wealthy. Does that bother you? Should it? You've been kind and genuine all evening." "Your bank account doesn't change that." Anna paused. "Although I should warn you, I come with a lot of baggage. Financially struggling, emotionally complicated, from my childhood, working in a field that's emotionally draining. I got that down. Dating material? You work with foster children despite terrible pay because you care about making a difference. You took a bus to get here and admitted you were worried about affording the menu. Honest about your struggles instead of hiding them? That's more than ideal. That's extraordinary." When the evening ended, Christopher walked Anna to the bus stop, despite her protests that he didn't need to. "Can I see you again?" he asked. "Not because of a mistaken table number. It's actually intentionally," Anna smiled. "I'd like that, but you should know I don't fit into your world. I can't afford fancy restaurants or designer clothes. I live in a studio apartment and budget groceries down to the dollar. If this goes anywhere, that gap is going to be complicated. Then we'll figure out the complications together," Christopher said. "Because tonight was the first time in years someone saw me as a person instead of an opportunity. That's worth navigating complications." Over the following months, they did navigate complications. Christopher learned what real financial struggle looked like, adjusted his lifestyle to meet Anna where she was, and found meaning in helping fund the programs she worked with. Anna learned to accept help without feeling like charity, to see Christopher's wealth as a tool for good rather than a source of shame, and to trust that he valued her for who she was rather than what she could offer. "People at my office are talking," Anna told Christopher 6 months after that accidental first date. "It's a social worker dating the tech CEO. They think it's a fairy tale." "Is it?" as Christopher asked. "No, fairy tales are perfect. We're messy and complicated and figuring things out as we go," Anna smiled. "But it's real. That's better than perfect." 1 year after Anna had sat down at the wrong table, Christopher proposed at that same table in the same restaurant where they had accidentally met. "You sat down by mistake because our friends confused the table numbers. We're flustered and apologetic and honest about not being able to afford the menu. I asked you to stay anyway and discovered someone who saw me as a person rather than a bank account." Christopher knelt with the ring. "Will you marry me? Will you let me spend my life learning from your compassion? Will you keep teaching me that success is measured in lives changed, not dollars earned?" Through tears, Anna said yes, but only if you promise to remember that night. That I sat at the wrong table and you invited me to stay. That we built something real from complete accident. That the best things happen when we stop planning and start being present. "I promise," Christopher said. "How could I forget? You sat down by mistake and changed my life on purpose." At their wedding, Anna's vows made everyone cry. "I walked into that restaurant to meet a stranger and sat at the wrong table. My husband could have corrected me and sent me away. Instead, he invited me to stay. That single choice to embrace accident rather than correct it changed both our lives. Thank you, Christopher, for seeing possibility in mistakes. Thank you for teaching me that the best love stories aren't planned, they're discovered in moments of unexpected connection. If this story reminded you that beautiful accidents lead to intentional love, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment about when a mistake led to something meaningful.